I would have so much shame getting into a relationship with somebody after having bankruptcy on my record.
We are listing here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different credit card debts.
What?
You're coming here in a Mayday position and you're wearing a $6,500 valued Rolex. And you're still making payment plans on this? What's going on? My name is Romain, and for the past 10 years, I've been on a quest to tackle America's toughest personal finance situations. Leveraging my Ivy League master degree and personal experience, I've found solutions for what seems impossible. In 1 year, you can completely be in a different spot. Are we ready to take action?
Yes.
Will this be the one I cannot solve? Let's see what happens. Jane, let's look at your profile. You are 43 years old, you're originally from Northern California, you currently live in West Hollywood, and you've worked as a personal trainer for some very high-level athletes, including people in the Olympics. Is that right?
That is absolutely right, yeah.
Awesome. Looking at the way you've rated your personal finances, Jane, from chilling to Mayday, you rated yourself as Mayday. Jane, what's going on?
Yeah, on the outside, it looks like I have a very successful business. I've worked for Fitbit India. I've worked for the US Olympics. I've been training for over 20 years. But on the inside, I am a 40-something-year-old ball of quarter-life crisis mush, I guess you would say. I'm working way too hard and not getting far enough and have no free time, and maybe I'm a little burnt out and a lot of broke.
All right. Well, thank you for bringing us briefly through this picture. Let's dive into the specifics. So, right, you are in your early 40s. What's going on?
I feel like I'm working a lot and not getting ahead. And I've accrued a lot of debt from COVID. And on the outside, people seem to think I have this great lifestyle and my whole life together. But on the inside, I'm burnt out with no free time. I'm barely making ends meet financially. I have no savings. I have no security blanket, which then translates into me not having any time for my friends, cultivating any meaningful relationships, or even being able to see my family.
Oh, I see. And something interesting that you just mentioned is this whole imbalance almost came through at the time of COVID, because before that, I mean, you were the successful, and you're still in some ways, but financially successful personal trainers working, as I mentioned, with, high level athletes. So your life at some point was nice.
I think several things occurred. Yes, absolutely COVID. And then I had some personal health issues also that slowed me down from working. But when I was younger, I was able to recoup money that I spent in big amounts, and I was healthy and I could just, run through. And really, I think a different set of goals. I wasn't looking to own a house or cultivate a relationship. I think I was here and now,
living the present.
Yeah, living in the present, but maybe not to the best extent.
I see. And living in that present, you would pretty much live paycheck to paycheck. Is that right?
Yeah, I was living paycheck to paycheck because I also had a lot of passion projects I was pursuing when I was younger. But when COVID hit and everything shut down, my whole financial and professional life went south. I mean, and recouping from that, even 3-4 years later, has been extremely challenging. In fact, I find myself going further and further into debt just to stay catching up.
Yeah, kind of managing your minimum payments, because indeed you've accumulated and maxed out already almost any forms of debt that is available
Yes.
to you. And that has led to conflict also in your own personal life.
Yeah.
You feel like you're kind of always stressing out about it, and it has also impacted, your romantic life too.
Yeah, I'm always stressed out. I try to stay in a good enough mood, but truth be told, I just tend to be more short. My whole personality has been sucked out of me because I'm just worried about money all the time and making sure I'm making my minimums. And dating is completely out of the question because I don't want to bring that to the table and get somebody else involved in that until I can get my shit together. And Roman, I feel like it goes even deeper than that. My entire sense of joy and happiness, don't know what that emotion is anymore. You know, it is like living on fight, flight, or freeze. It's basically like living to pay bills. You know, that's it. And it doesn't matter. You know, it's like, good, did I break even this month? Excellent. You know, and it's very taxing and very fatiguing. And I've had some, like I said before, some health issues come up that have like zapped me even further. And I think being financially stressed out all the time and not having any happiness and not being able to even cultivate authentic relationships out of shame of the financial position I've in has played such an integral role of me kind of being stuck and spinning my wheels and being this unhappy person. Does that make sense? Did that make
Yeah,
sense?
no, I can understand definitely some of those feelings. I mean, financial pressure, especially in some ways. I mean, we're living in a country that does not negotiate with you when you're down, right? I mean,
No.
it's not like the French socialist system. Here, you're kind of on your own.
Yeah.
And that constant kind of pressure about, oh, am I going to make it? And you only have, for the most part, to rely on you because you've been living and kind of working off that entrepreneurial, dealing with your own clients, having to source. And it's an industry in some ways also that is so unstable, right?
Yes. Yes, and I think the thing is the landscape of that industry has had so many ups and downs and so many changes that you can't rely on it. And, you know, with social media blowing up and things like that, and me not wanting to go the social media route.
Why?
I feel like a lot of social media trainers, oh my God, you're going to get so many comments on this.
Oh, that's fine.
Are not credible. They don't have the certifications. They don't have the licensing. They don't have the knowledge. They're cute guys / girls with six packs in their bikinis. There's just a very vapid element to it that I don't really consider. Yeah, I don't want to partake in it. I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid, Roman. I don't want to drink the Kool-Aid.
All right. And so all of that kind of has led you today, as we mentioned, to a tough financial spot. Let's speak a little bit more together as the specifics. As we continue to transition through the story, I invite you, if you like this type of content, to like and subscribe, as this helps us tremendously. 20-year trainer. I see also you're also potentially pursuing further education with a doctorate in the field as well. But today, how much does that pay you per year right now?
I don't know. Maybe like I've made maybe $50,000 this year.
$50,000 this year. And that has been driven by what? You're working one-on-one with clients? You work for, how do you make your money?
So this is the other thing. I work 7 days a week and
currently work 7 days a week?
Yeah.
Okay.
And it's grueling hours. And I'll either work for group classes at a gym, a corporate gym I won't mention. And then in addition to that, I do house calls where I do rehabilitation therapy, which is 1099. I have an employer that sends me out.
How much do you charge for that?
So I think she charges about $150 a session.
Okay.
And I make about 75. Yeah.
Wow. 50%.
And if you're looking at drive time in Los Angeles, back and forth, a 1 hour session, like 50% is very low of a thing. And then I have my private clients as well, which also I usually get them from referral or word of mouth. And I do feel a little bit guilty because I do believe that everyone needs health and fitness. So those clients, I will also only charge $75 a session. I don't overcharge them.
That's fair, but still working 7 days a week. How many hours would you say you work?
Depends on the week, but I think I probably work 50, 55 hours a week.
How do you feel about your profession?
I think it's very unfair. I also think there aren't enough regulations in the industry to warrant. I mean, every Tom, Dick, and Harry says they're a trainer now. Do you know what I mean? So I get why the salary has gone down through time.
How do you feel about your salary?
It feels like bullshit, like I'm upset. I'm angry. I work very hard and I deserve a lot more, and I'm not getting that.
Okay. So that brings your net, my dear friend Jane, at $3,641 a month. When we compare that in the United States for the median in your age bracket between 35 and 44, 50% make more, 50% make less. It's at $61,300. But again, you're living in one of the most expensive areas in the United States.
Yeah.
So that I can see how this can be tricky.
Yeah.
Let's dive into what you have.
Okay.
So, You've provided me with quite a bit of information here. Jane has been absolutely transparent. We love that. We have statements that come back months and months before. That's going to make for a very precise and a very deep dive financial assessment. And we love that. So follow along, guys. You have about 3 forms of assets. The first one that we are recording is a checking account. Today we are recording beginning of the month. You've paid your rent already at $1,808.
Yes.
You do not have any saving account at this point,
Nope.
nor retirement.
No.
Over that time, balancing those 2 aspects, you've been able to secure 2 atypical assets. I mean, a typical one is a Mercedes. You're driving luxury, my dear friend.
It's paid off.
Yeah, it's paid off. That's nice to see. A 2014 Mercedes GLK with 100,000+ miles, valued here at $9,400.
In my defense, I feel like I'm in court. In my defense, in LA, that's like driving a Toyota.
Right, but who do you want to impress, though?
Myself. I don't want to go into the backstory of that because my car before that was a Lexus SUV and it was paid off. Mm-hmm. My parents purchased it for me as a gift. Mm-hmm. And when I wrecked it, I couldn't afford another one of those, so I got.
Okay, so I can understand maybe a mean of transportation, but this next asset, Jane, what the hell? You're coming here in a Mayday position and you're wearing a $6,500 valued Rolex. What is going on? And you're still making payment plans on this? What's going on?
It was a 40th birthday present to myself. That's all.
Paid with debt.
Yeah.
28%.
Yeah. That's how much my interest is on it?
Yeah. 28.36.
Wait, really?
Yeah.
Holy shit.
Oh my God. You've paid it twice the price.
Good to know.
Okay. So we have a Rolex. 6,500 together, my dear friend. I wish this was invested in stock instead of in a Rolex, although this can have appreciation in value, but you've paid it twice the price. Total assets at 43 years old, that's 17,608. Okay, we acknowledge this number.
Okay.
And we'll transition together into how you spend your money. Wait, before we dive into the next section, I want to speak to the entrepreneur in you, the one that's right at the doorsteps of wanting to build a new business. And when you do, generally you want to create an LLC. And this is why today's sponsor of the video is LLC Attorney. You may have heard them. They are one of the big players in the space, and I have used them myself for all of my businesses, from Frenchie to this YouTube channel to my wood business, if you have seen in other videos. LLC Attorney will file your paperwork with the state within 24 hours. They will provide you with EIN services, with registered agents, which is good when you want to protect your home business address. They also help you with switching to a corporation. Their pricing is very competitive, and this is an attorney-backed company, meaning that if you want to speak to an attorney, you can schedule it through the platform super easy, and they're specialists when it comes to answering your questions. Do you want to build your company in the state that you reside in? Or maybe you want to leverage better tax incentives in Wyoming. There are some complexities and strategies that you can apply, and they will provide you with not only the knowledge, but the service to make it happen. Guys, if you're interested in building your LLC, I invite you to check out the link in the description below. And because you're watching me, I have a code for you that gives you 100% off formation fees. Thank you so much, LLC Attorney, for sponsoring this video. And now let's get back to our content. It's gonna be fun. Okay. Jane, how much do you pay for rent right now in Los Angeles?
About $2,500.
Okay, I mean, it's an expensive place to be at. It's also Los Angeles, I can understand in some aspects, but here, looking at your statement, you have about $38,000 in back rent on it as well. Mm-hmm. What's going on with that?
So it's from COVID. Mm-hmm. So I am currently paying my rent. That is back rent. That's several years old, but I brought the ledger in because I want to be completely honest with you. Right now, I'm still on hold for the LA County rent relief, so that $38,000, if approved, will get covered. But
the total?
The total will.
Wow.
That's what they're saying.
Okay.
But also it's a gamble because it's still pending. And if it's not approved, then I have 1 year to pay all of that back or be taken to small claims. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, despite currently paying your rent, I mean, they're looking for their money. That's about a year and a half or so that was not paid. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I mean, looking at your rent, my dear friend, right now, with utilities, you're at $24.50.
Yeah, I rounded up to 25 because it depends on what the AC bill or the heat bill or whatever.
67% of your income. 2/3 of your income goes there. We like it to be below 28. So there is already a financial imbalance on that front that is overly stressful.
Yeah.
That's an expensive rent, though. What's nice to see is at least on the side, your car is paid off. Now,
God.
well, that's something. You're spending about $320 on gas.
Yeah.
I mean, so you're paying $0 on insurance. That brings your transportation expense to 9% of your income.
Is that normal?
We like it to be below 15. Congratulations, you're doing great. Yeah, but I mean, you are in a car, Mercedes engines, 10 years old. Things
Don't jinx
I'm
it.
not jinxing, but my partner had the same car and it went down. It went down fast.
I'm going to run it until the wheels fall off.
I mean, you're going to see my recommendations. You're not going to like what I'm going to say.
Okay.
But it may or may not include keeping that car. All right. Okay. So, I mean, in some ways, I could say, all right, Jane, that's fine, maybe for the car. But now, let's look at the statements.
Oh, God.
Okay. So, I have a couple questions for you, my dear friend.
Sure.
For the most part, I would think that with driving a nice Mercedes, you would be able to do your own groceries.
Oh, I knew you were going to bring this up.
What is going on with Instacart?
So,
What's your excuse?
no, it's not an excuse, but I've canceled the Instacart subscription.
Okay.
But I work so many hours that like getting to the grocery store is just one of those things I just can't get myself to do in LA, where you have to look for parking. And I sound like such an asshole. I already know, but
Well, I mean, you have no problem going to Target. $85. Not too long ago.
what did I buy at Target for $85?
You have no problem going to Massage Envy.
I did go to Massage Envy. It's part of my job.
Wait, hold on. It's part of your job.
When I train people, I get tense and sore, and I have to.
It's a business expense. Let's see. On the business front and on your personal front, how many credit card debt have you accumulated?
Over COVID.
Okay, well, let's look at the finances together. And it's, somehow I need to bring this to you. So it comes under the intervention because there are some recommendations that I know you don't want to discuss about, but we'll have to tackle some.
Okay.
We are listing here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 different credit card debts.
Yeah.
You're starting with a credit card at 346. That was for, actually, that's a pretty recent one, but you also have a credit one with 550.
Wait, are these balances?
Yes.
Okay, continue. Sorry.
Then you have a Merrick Bank, $1,330. Another one, another Capital one, $2,071. Another one, $2,267. Care Credit, $2,839. Chase, $2,889. T-Bank, $2,794. Community Bank, $3,160. But you also have a Nordstrom at $6,128. Total amount of credit card debt today, $27,830.
Wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be.
27, yeah. I mean, you also have other forms of debt. You have a dentist debt that you're paying about $84 on minimum payment per month at $1,176.
Some of those were medical debts you read off too, and I had to use my credit cards to get through them. And some of them were, not some of them, all of those were from COVID.
You're not in collections, though.
No, because I pay minimum payments. I'm not dumb. Or maybe I am dumb for paying only minimum payments. I mean, No.
I mean, you've been able to protect your credit score to 587 right now. If we were 3 years ago during COVID,
Yeah.
and you were telling me, Romain, I cannot pay those, I would have told you to never pay them.
What? Why?
Because right now you would have been in collections on those cards, and the amount that you would own or that you would be able to settle at would probably be between $6,000, $7,000, $8,000. And that's crazy. That's awful to say. Because you've been paying your minimum payments,
Yeah.
you've never felt into collections,
Correct.
and so you owe the full amount of $28,000.
But if I owed the 8K, let's say, because I did go to collections and I negotiated, my credit score would fall below 587 or stay at 587?
Your credit score would have been slightly impacted, but the optimal strategy at the time would have been to consolidate everything into one loan,
Okay.
let it rot in collections. You call them 3-4 years later today, after COVID incidents. You negotiate with them and you're out of the way, and you ask them to write it off your collection.
That just seems like so out of my integrity, though. Like that doesn't sit right with me.
I know, but at the end of the day, my dear friend, we have to play the most optimal personal finance game that you have in your hands.
Yeah.
What I can tell you
Yeah.
is no one cares about your finances
Yeah.
more than you.
Yeah.
So if you can play legally the game to make sure that you're putting yourself in the place where you're not rating yourself a 2 out of 10, stressing out of many elements of your life that are preventing you from assuming any form of actions, you do it. That's what it is. Let me tell you why.
Okay.
Because we need to not only leverage existing systems that are provided to you, we'll be speaking about that, but we also need to drastically change some of the spending behavior.
Okay.
Because you've probably felt into that aspect of your life where you believe that your finances are very tough. I think that you've allowed yourself spending behaviors that you would probably not if you were in a good spot.
Okay.
What I mean by that is
yeah,
you've kind of let things go because whatever at this point is just going to go on top of it. Because there is some things here
Yeah.
that we cannot really justify. Like, I mean, in some aspects, in the middle of COVID or right after we came out of it,
Yeah.
your financial situation was already pretty drastic and you still came in and took on additional debt for that watch that you still own $373. So I have a question for you here. And answer honestly on this for me. You knew after COVID that your financial situation was in a tough spot.
Mm-hmm.
But you still decided to take a $6,000 loan at 30%, unknowingly, apparently, on your watch.
Well, I think it comes down to what you said before. It's not always about the money. It's about how something makes you feel.
Okay.
And it was my 40th birthday present for myself, gifting myself a piece of jewelry that I knew was an actual appreciating asset. So that was my logic behind it. Now, mind you, could I have shopped a little bit better and maybe gotten a better deal? Mm-hmm. Sure. But I got the watch insured and I got it put into payments because that's what I had to do. But for me, it was a feeling, and I will tell you, I wear it everywhere. I wear it every day, and it just gives me like a little glimmer of hope, even if for a millisecond, because like your own words, it's not always about the money. Sometimes it is about the feeling, and it gives me a feeling. Mm-hmm. And it was for my own birthday.
How much do you value this feeling?
Happiness or feeling good? I think that trumps any sort of financial. I think if I were happy and poor.
But do you believe in that material goods do outweigh or provide you with a greater feeling than...
I think they can. Yeah.
Okay.
I didn't really think I would be in a position where here we are and I have all this debt and the entire like financial system of making my money and my health going south has now like even taken a further hit on what comes into my expenses every month.
But you're still showing in some of your recent statements expensive transactions.
Like what?
Like Ulta, $226, or like the car wash at $45.
I'm in an industry that's aesthetics based, so I can't show up to and I deal with high end like Beverly Hills, Bel Air clients who have Rolls Royces and Aston Martins and things like that. I can't roll up in my already 2014 Mercedes, which you pointed out, dirty and shitbaggy. Are you kidding me? I have to make sure that everything is spotless and clean. It's an image to retain those clients. So something like a car wash or something like Ulta where I have to spend on makeup or shampoo. Like I wish I had the breakdown of what that Ulta was, because I know what it was. It was dry shampoo for my gym bag. It was a shampoo, a conditioner, an under eye concealer. These are all basics that I need to get by. I didn't purchase anything extravagant.
Those are good answers, but I'm almost willing to concede on those.
However,
if there was no other maybe alternatives that would sustain your financials.
Okay, wait, go back. What?
Other alternatives that would help sustain your financial, because what you're about to find, and I've made the calculation.
Yeah.
Is that on a monthly basis right now,
yeah,
you're losing hundreds of dollars.
How?
You've been increasing some of your credit card debt, and you've been maintaining minimum payments that are costing you hundreds of dollars. So you're protecting, by maintaining your minimum payments on your credit card debt, it's not gonna be nice. You're self-inflicting your self-pain. Are you going to allow yourself to continuously live in this, in some way, misery, I must call it, because working 7 days a week with limited days off, with not real, crazy personal life or fulfillment from something other than kind of your job and so on. But somehow you're favoritizing banks that don't give a damn about you instead of yourself. One of the big things that you told me is that everything today now becomes an effort. Everything becomes an effort. You said even brushing your teeth was demanding an effort. And I don't put it against you somehow, because you would say anyone in the world and say, brushing my teeth was like an effort.
Yeah.
You would be judged. You would be say, how dumb are you? And you would be also said potentially, how lazy are you?
Yeah.
But I don't think that's the case for you at all. I think is that you've somehow conditioned yourself to be in this almost dark environment that's clouded, where today there is no financial situation that can get you out of this without leveraging things that maybe will hit your personal pride, but will open your eyes and open your opportunities to stay. Because what's my concern is that if today you're wanting to do things on your own, it's going to take you years, tens of thousands of dollars. And on top of that, it's not the same when you're 48, 50, still single. You have for one of your goals to build a partner, to find a lifetime partner. And somehow you want to deal with all of this on your own, but you're not giving you the chance to do it. So just, I'm going to bring this to your eyes. What that means right now, total debt is not crazy. It's $31,000. Think about it for a second. $31,000 in the context of life. It's not crazy. It's not crazy amount of money. I've had people here sit on that chair with $1 million of debt, smiling at me.
What did they do to fix it?
That's crazy. This guy used $400,000 of federal student loans to travel around the world. And now he's stuck for 10 years
It's actually
as a government, having to work for the government, hoping for loan forgiveness. But
Did he take your advice?
yeah, he's going through it. What I'm saying is, and we haven't even started the recommendation here, we're speaking about finances, but your case is much more than numbers, because $31,000 in the context is nothing. But this somehow is locking you down into this darkness vibe of stress. You've expressed stress, tired, ashamed, nervous, avoid, frightened. I shouldn't be hearing something like this from you.
I feel like the fear comes from not like working. I think like, again, working so hard and only making so much.
Your net worth today is minus $13,400.
Minus?
$13,000 is what's clouding everything that you're trying to accomplish. Okay? And let me tell you, as we continue to go through some of your expenses here, that unfortunately we'll have to I'm going to tell you right away.
Yeah.
If you want to get out of the financial situation, the following expenses should not appear on your accounts whatsoever.
Okay.
Okay, let's have some fun with this. Starbucks, 15, 6.
So I do
5.
have to take those little expenses out?
This is gone.
Okay.
But not all of it. I will tell you why. You know, Ulta, yes, I understand but do we need to spend $250? I wash my car with my hose in front of my house. I don't have to pay $45.
You're right.
I've made simple calculations.
Okay.
Looking at your minimum payments, at your rent, some of your expenses, and everything. Living the life in Los Angeles today cost you about $4,345 per month.
That's like minimum payments and everything.
That's everything, excluding, of course, the Starbucks.
That's fine.
All that, you know, what I call refers to as a shit counter. Those are shit expenses, unnecessary. So what does that mean? My friend, on a monthly basis, today, you're underwater $707.
What do you mean underwater, though?
What that means is that if you were to actually continue paying on your debt, right now, you're losing $700 per month of net worth.
Okay.
And that is assuming no extras.
No Starbucks.
No Starbucks, no Message Envy, and all that stuff. You're losing money no matter what.
Okay.
And your assets are invested in things that, for the most part, are not depreciating in value. I mean, the watch, yes, to a certain extent, although you need the right reseller. The car, that's a nightmare. And checking accounts, you're not benefiting from any retirement, tax incentive, anything. It's kind of not that great. So, I'm going to present you with a plan that you're not going to like.
Okay.
But somehow, you know, I've had about 92% success rate of people coming to the show, so let's see how you react to it.
Okay.
But before I do that, I want you to hold this and just acknowledge this. This, right now, is how much you're losing per month, despite working 7 days a week. You're putting 55 hours, and somehow, given the financial situations and some of the spending behavior, you're losing $700 per month. How can we sustain this lifestyle? There's no way. There's no way. So we need to make an absolute drastic change. What I'm about to ask you is to allow yourself for once to give yourself the chance to think different while still satisfying this passion.
Okay.
I would put for the next 5 years an halt on that dream temporarily. You've allowed yourself 20 years It hasn't paid yet. I'm not saying no ever to it.
But I've stopped and goed within that
But
20 years
wait,
as well.
I am asking you. Right now, I'm just gonna put it straight for you. I have someone here, 51 years old.
Yeah.
Okay. She had that what I refer to as in some ways the dream disease.
Yeah.
Okay. For 25 years, she's been living in that dream until one day she woke up, something arose medically, she couldn't see from one eye.
Yeah.
Since then, from 45 to 51 years old, she's been stuck on her bed with $0 on her account.
Yeah.
Regretting that she couldn't make any action during the time at which she was working on her dream. Today, you're coming to me, for the most part, in pretty good health. Everything is okay. Your finances are in a very tough in a tough spot, but your health is good. On the personal side, though, you're not being satisfied despite that dream that's aspiring you to it. So what I'm saying, though, is let's allow yourself for just a couple of years the chance to think different for a moment. For a moment. Because you've given yourself 20 years. We have to put it out at some point, regroup ourselves, and come back stronger. Because if you're going to continue like this, I see you, except if you're part of that 2% that arise, but statistics somehow are against you, at 45, at 50, at 55 years old, with $0 on your account, and then people are crying on my chair here, what do I do with my life? And then I'm telling them, well, for the most part, it's a little bit late. You have a full second life for you. So bite the bullet on your feet for 5 years, and this is exactly what I would do. I want you to file for bankruptcy. What are the alternative options? Listen to me closely. Either right now you forefront right in the head your debt. What that means is that you're locked for 2 to 3 years working at least 2 jobs.
Is this an option you're telling me?
Yeah, this is the alternatives of not filing for bankruptcy.
Okay.
Because I want you to see what that means. For 2 to 3 years, you're locking yourself in a job where you're having to pay over, right now in interest per month, you're paying $678.
That's the $700 that you were talking about.
That's $678 that you're paying of interest. Interest, nothing. You're not paying back any principal, nothing. You're just paying to the bank for allowing yourself to get that balance. $678. So, let me tell you, the alternatives are not wanting to file for bankruptcy because I know it's a big thing for you. So I want to present to you what that means.
Okay.
So you're aware.
Okay.
2 to 3 years, locked in a job on rice and beans, 0 wants, nothing. Okay? You're downgrading your apartments. Are you kidding at $2,500? No way. If you want to pay back your debt, you're going to have to go aggressive as hell. And if you want to stay in LA, good luck to that. So for 2 to 3 years, you're miserable. Miserable. And you end at 46 years old. Okay, debt-free. Awesome. But then you're completely burnt out and tired from doing things. And in the meantime, of course, emotional and so on, your emotions are going to be very high. I've had people that have decided to get to that solutions. Good luck. Okay? The emotions are going to be very high. You're going to be under a lot of stress. The payback period is interesting and it's going to be motivating when you see your debt going down. But you are on so much expensive debt that it's going to take a drastic amount of time. The second thing that you have option 2 is what we refer to as debt consolidation. Okay? Debt consolidation is you're going to contract to companies that is going to take all of your debt, sum it up together. They're going to say, hey, stop paying all your payments, send us $700 per month, okay, for 3 to 4 years, and then we're going to discuss with them and close the accounts. Okay, that's an option. So what they're doing is they're letting your debt fall into collections. They collect payment from you in the meantime, so they have money. And then they're going to offer the collections that money.
How does that affect your credit?
So generally, depending on how they work about it, they can sometimes negotiate so that your collection gets wiped. Okay? That's an option. But here it's at least, given that you've been maintaining minimum payments, it's at least a process of 4 to 5 years.
So
From
it's
4
longer.
to 5 years, you're paying $700 per month. Okay?
And my credit is being affected.
And your credit, your credit is being affected immediately. Yeah, you're not going to have any payments. 84% utilizations, you're going to fall into the low 500, if not 400s. So that's another option. So either you're burning yourself for 2 to 3 years, or you're paying someone for 4 to 5 years until the collection fall, they can negotiate on your behalf. Or my friend, in 6 months, you can completely debt-free.
But how long is that? A, how does that affect my credit? And B,
how the process goes, you're going to file for Chapter 7. The total cost to you is going to be about $2,000. Now, I'm going to tell you straight away, you're going to lose that Rolex.
why?
Because they will look at every assets that you have.
So I'll lose my car.
So what you would do, strategically, now we work with the system. You're going to sell your car. You're going to sell your car. You're going to get $9,000 for it. From that point, you're going to go buy yourself a more affordable car. I'm not saying you to buy yourself a dump, but the Mercedes will be categorized as a luxury good, and they will most probably take it in a bankruptcy. If you show up in a bankruptcy with a good that's more affordable, showcasing that, hey, I'm trying to make it happen here, they won't take your car. So you have to downgrade to the perception of the bankruptcy what you drive. Because they're like, she filed for bankruptcy, she has a Rolex and a Mercedes, let me laugh at it. Out. So you have to downgrade slightly your car for something that's a little bit more reliable, but you're going to have the cash to buy it using the cash that you're selling your car from. The extra money that you have goes into bankruptcy with a bankruptcy lawyer. What's going to happen from there is that you'll be registered as bankrupt for 10 years on your credit report.
No.
There are many people, though, that have followed through the decade of doing this, that have filed for bankruptcy, that were very well able, after a couple years, 5, 6, 7 years, to get access to mortgages to buy houses and so on. So what I want to tell you is that it is not a death sentence, and no one has to be ashamed of taking benefit of a process like this. Somehow there is this stigma around it that is absolutely unjustified. If today the government was giving you, hey, you're a personal trainer, you're struggling, we want to support personal trainers, here's $1,000 per month to help you with your running expenses. Would you say, oh no, sorry, I have too much pride, I can't take the $1,000? Let's be real. You would most probably...
But there's no consequence to that. That's a benefit. There's so many consequences
But
to
what are the consequences to your eyes then? What does that mean, consequence?
No, I was saying I can't purchase anything. My credit score is shit. And I'm going to be really honest with you. If we go back to the relationship component of me wanting a partner, I will never, I can't get into that. I would have so much shame getting into a relationship with somebody after having bankruptcy on my record. And maybe it's a cultural thing. I'm going to be really honest with you. And a pride thing for me personally. I could not, I would rather eat beans and rice and my Starbucks and my Ulta and do it the extremely hard way, because eventually at the end of that, I can feel good about going into a relationship with somebody. I cannot with the levels of shame, and I'm not shaming anybody else that has to go through it, and I'm not shaming your advice. I know you're trying to make it the easiest for me from this financial perspective, and I appreciate it, and I'm grateful. But for me, there's just a level of something, it would not resolve my happiness factor because of the shame that's attached to it, and it would not help me fulfill the goal of having a relationship or anything. I could not, I would feel like such, you're gonna have to beep out so many curse words, shit about myself for doing that. I would rather eat nothing, work 5 jobs in fast food and retail in 2 years and pull that off.
Big thing that I have in some aspects is I think you're going to have to make a lot of introspection as to what is a priority to you.
That's fair.
A bankruptcy is not an easy door.
It's
not an easy way out. But what I'm saying though is this is coming from your mouth, digested in the result, not in the intention, in the result. What you're telling me is that your health, your mental health, the option for personal experience with partners and so on, your hobbies, all of this is white for a couple years, okay? For one element to give you the chance that, oh, well, she didn't want to use an options that millions of Americans are using somehow that's not changing their life, other than maybe the perception of themselves, that maybe they haven't made the right decision for a moment, but for the most part, it's independent of you.
Yeah, I'm telling you that is what I'm telling you at this moment. Like you said, it may need some introspection.
My biggest concern is that you're going to come in 2 to 3 years with the pride of maybe having paid those debt, but you're going to have to, I'm telling you, it is drastic. Forget the Mercedes. You're selling that Rolex tomorrow. Forget everything. You're not living, you're finding a room that you're going to share with a bunch of roommates for $700 per month in LA. Okay? So you're going to be at your lowest of your lowest. I'm always the first one that says, when I find a solution, bankruptcy is my latest option.
Yeah.
It's really the end of the end.
Yeah.
I generally don't even recommend it that often.
Yeah.
But to your case, the picture that I'm saying is fighting for bankruptcy, rebuilding yourself for 5 years. In 5 years, you're going to be in your mid-40s and so on. Your finances are going to be strong. You're going to be completely debt-free. You're going to have a good understanding of what would have worked professionally and so on. And within that time, during that reconstruction, I think that you can pair someone and find someone that's also in that momentum. And I can tell you that as a true, savvy finance person that values everything for the most part around finance, it's my passion, it's everything. If someone comes to me in a relationship and say, hey, Romain, I took a shot at the entrepreneurial life. I took a shot at my dream. And despite anything that I've wanted to put as efforts, I couldn't make it happen. And I had to file for bankruptcy. As the one that literally sees that, I wouldn't think twice. I would say, at least she gave it a shot. And I wouldn't think twice. That's it. But you're burning yourself for 3 years, destroying your health, your mental health, working and so on, for an emotion that I would literally digest in 20 seconds and say, well, actually, I would potentially put a positive twist on it because you've taken the right shot at it. So value your damn life for once. Put your hobbies and your passion on a break. Play the game and leverage things that are available to you. In 5 years, my dear friend, you're a complete different woman. In a matter already of 6 months, I can tell you your happiness is most probably going to skyrocket with the perception that nobody gives a damn. I have countless of friends, not countless, but 2 or 3, that have taken a shot that filed for bankruptcy. And today they are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Because this is what the United States is. And this is also why I'm here. Is because we are in the country that allows the chance for you to take those shots. Word to word, as we wrap up our discussion, I would sell the car. I would sell the Rolex. I would buy a more affordable car that still presents good to your clients. I understand that component of wanting to understand that. I would contract a lawyer for $2,000 to $3,000, go through the bankruptcy process, 6 months. I would relocate because your cost of living is so high. Putting $2,600 of rent and so on, it's crazy. For 2 to 3 years, build yourself, just put that dream on pause for now. On pause, I'm not saying never, on pause. Build yourself the right financial foundation that allows you to rebuild your confidence into presenting yourself to the right partner. Build you guys together for a moment and think about at some point coming back to that hobby and that passion with something that is much more stable. I have an 85 to 90% estimate that you're going to then be able to put yourself into the right foundation to think about investments, retirement, and additional ways of creating yourself wealth. But on top of that, you also have to completely change some of the spending behavior that we've discussed together.
Yep.
And most importantly, change the perception that you have that you've not failed. You've taken a shot and you're still young enough to take a second one, so don't burn yourself on the first.
Thank you.
Any final words as we wrap up our discussion?
No, this was very eye-opening and very candid and a little bit of tough love, but it really showed me what my options are. And now I think these are things I have to digest and mull over and figure out what I have to do or not do or whatever, you know. You gave me a lot of clarity on what my choices and my roads are, which I am so appreciative of.
All right. We'll be following with you, my dear Jane. Thank you so much, guys, for following along. We invite you to like and subscribe as this helps support the channel. Until then, I see you next time. À bientôt.